The Ottoman Empire was one of the longest-lasting empires in history. It lasted for more than 6 centuries from 1299 to 1922, and during that time, the Ottomans ruled over much of Southeast Europe, Western Asia, and North Africa. So what makes the Ottoman Empire so special? Why did it last so long? Was it the military or their religion, or was there something else? Well, today we'll be looking at how the Ottomans were able to rule for 600 years. Also, stick around until the end if you want to learn about one of the greatest mysteries of the Ottoman Empire. When most people hear the word Ottoman, they think of a large, wealthy empire that dominated the Middle East for many years. However, the Ottoman Empire actually started off very small. The empire was founded by Osman I in 1299, who ruled over a small Turkish state in northwestern Anatolia. At the time, the region was part of the Byzantine Empire, and the Sultan of the neighboring Seljuk, Sultanate of Rum, was constantly pressuring the Byzantines and trying to take their land. With this constant pressure from the Sultan, Osman I was able to grow his state over the next few decades, and by the time he died in 1326, he had taken control of all of northwestern Anatolia. Osman's son, Orhan, continued his father's legacy and conquered the Byzantine city of Bursa in 1325, after conquering the city. Orhan made it the new capital of the Ottoman Sultanate, and it would serve as the capital for the next 2 centuries. Under Orhan's rule, the Ottoman army began to grow. He was the first sultan to create a standing army composed entirely of Ottoman subjects. Before Osman's reign, the Sultanate relied on mercenaries to fight their battles for them. But now, with an official army, the Ottoman forces grew to around 30,000 soldiers. In 1354, the Ottoman army put these new tactics to the test when they clashed with the Byzantines once again outside the city of Nicomedia. The Ottoman forces easily defeated the Byzantine army, which proved to be a turning point in the history of the Ottoman Empire. From that point forward, the Ottoman army would go undefeated in battle, and they would become a dominant force in the region. As the Ottoman Sultanate continued to expand, they came into conflict with the Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt. In 1365, the Ottomans invaded Syria, but their attempt was unsuccessful and they were forced to retreat. A second attempt in 1367 also failed, but in 1389, the Ottomans finally took Damascus, ending the Mamluks' control over Syria. This victory allowed the Ottomans to expand into Arabia and North Africa. By the end of Murad I's reign, the Ottomans had taken Constantinople, expanded into the Balkans, and pushed deep into the Arabian Peninsula. Bayezid I continued his father's expansionist policies and launched an invasion into the Kingdom of Hungary. Bayezid was victorious at the Battle of Karansebes and entered the city of Belgrade, but he was soon forced to return to Anatolia to defend his empire. During the Battle of Ankara in 1402, Bayezid was defeated and captured by the army of Timur the Lame after Bayezid's capture. The Ottoman Empire fell into a civil war known as the Ottoman Interregnum, which lasted for nearly a decade. The empire would eventually be restored under the rule of Mehmed I in 1413, but it would never fully recover from the damage done during the Interregnum. Despite the internal strife, the Ottoman Empire would go on to conquer Bosnia, Herzegovina, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Romania during the 15th century. But it was under Selim the first that the Ottoman Empire reached its peak. Selim was known as the lawgiver, and during his reign he conquered the Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt, conquering the last remnants of the former Crusader states along the way. With the addition of Egypt to the empire, the Ottomans gained control over the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, making them the protectors of Islam. Not only did Selim add Egypt to the empire, but he also expanded into Iraq, Syria, Palestine, and Yemen. By the end of his reign, Selim controlled the entire Mediterranean coast of North Africa, stretching from Morocco to the Egyptian border. Selim's son, Suleiman the Magnificent, would go on to conquer Belgrade, Rhodes, and much of Hungary. He also expanded into the Caucasus region and annexed the Crimean Khanate, which gave the Ottomans control over the Black Sea. As the empire reached its peak under Suleiman, many historians refer to this time period as the Ottoman Golden Age, after Suleiman's death. The Ottoman Empire began to decline. In the late 16th century, the empire faced a number of military defeats against the Habsburg monarchy, Russia, and Poland. The Ottoman army suffered a major defeat at the Battle of Karansebes in 1596, and were unable to make any further gains into Europe. During the 17th century, the empire suffered a number of internal problems. The Sultan's wife, Roxelana, had a great deal of influence over the Sultan, and she used her power to have him build a new capital at the city of Constantinople. While the new capital was being built, the treasury was drained and the economy was devastated, which caused massive inflation. To make things worse, the empire was struck by a series of devastating earthquakes which killed hundreds of thousands of people. By the early 19th century, the Ottoman Empire was no longer the powerhouse it once was. Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Egypt in 1798, forcing the Ottomans to ally with the British against him. After defeating Napoleon, the British and Ottomans fought over control of Egypt. The war ended with the Ottoman Empire ceding control of Egypt to the British. By the mid-1800s, the Ottoman Empire was a shell of its former self. Many of its European territories were taken by Russia, and the rest of Europe was threatening to do the same. To prevent this from happening, the Ottoman Sultan reached out to the British and French for assistance. The two European powers agreed to help the Ottomans in exchange for territorial concessions. This marked the beginning of the end for the Ottoman Empire and the beginning of the Arab world-esque colonization. There are a few reasons why the Ottoman Empire was able to rule for so long. First, the Ottomans were able to maintain a strong military for much of their existence. Even when the empire was at its weakest, the Ottoman army was still a force to be reckoned with. Second, the Ottomans were able to keep up with new technology. They were among the first to adopt gunpowder weapons, and they were quick to adopt new military tactics. Finally, the Ottomans were able to rule over a diverse group of people. They were tolerant of other religions and cultures, which helped them to maintain control over their vast empire. So why did the Ottoman Empire eventually collapse? There are a number of factors that contributed to the empire's decline. First, the Ottomans became increasingly corrupt over time. The Sultan's wives and concubines had a great deal of power, and they often used it for their own benefit. Second, the Ottoman economy was devastated by the construction of a new capital city. While the new capital was being built, the treasury was drained and inflation soared. Finally, the empire was struck by a series of natural disasters which killed hundreds of thousands of people. All of these factors combined to cause the Ottoman Empire to collapse. One of the greatest mysteries of the Ottoman Empire is the disappearance of the scepter of the Prophet. The scepter of the Prophet was a relic said to have been given to Muhammad by God. It was believed to have miraculous powers and was highly venerated by Muslims. The scepter was kept in the Topkapi Palace in Constantinople, but it disappeared in 1687. Despite a massive investigation, the scepter has never been found. Some believe that it was stolen, while others believe that it was destroyed. The truth is we may never know what happened to the scepter of the Prophet. Now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below which Ottoman ruler was your favorite and why. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of our other content. Thanks for watching.